And it's spooky season! Yes! Today we are making a monster cake. I'm so excited. So if the little sticker on this part of your box does not say monster cake kit, you're probably looking for another video, so go ahead and head back to our YouTube channel and find the video that's titled the same as whatever is on the little sticker. If it does say monster cake kit, welcome! It's gonna be super great! I love monsters, and I love cakes, and I love spooky season, so I'm very excited for today. There are a couple things first. So number one, you want your cakes baked, and at least room temperature, preferably a little bit colder. For this one, we're not smoothing out any of our monsters, so if it's just room temperature, it should be fine. But I usually like them a little bit colder than room temperature just because they're least likely to kind of crumble or anything like that. But we're not smoothing it out, so room temperature should be just fine. And then if you haven't baked your cakes yet, whoa, go ahead and pause me. And then come on back after you've baked your cakes. If you're not sure how to bake them, we do have a video on the YouTube channel how to do that as well. And we also have written directions on our website, which is mymakestudio.com. But after your cakes are baked and at least room temperature, you will just need a knife, a butter knife or a cake spatula. We are mainly just using this for leveling our cake, so I would go the butter knife route. And then a pair of scissors just to cut stuff open. And then some form of towel. It can be a hand towel or a paper towel. I'm going the paper towel route today. It's just so we can set our open icings on it, and if we get anything on our fingers, we can just right here. Just helps keep our area a little bit more clean. And then the final thing is go ahead and wash your hands nice and good. Make sure they're all clean, and then grab your cakes in your kit, and we're ready to get started. Yes! Alright, so I've got my cakes, and then I also have my cake board that was in my box. And I'm going to take my butter knife. Now we're not going to cut it this way or this way. We're actually going to turn it sideways. And all we're doing is making these less round. So depending on where you are in the country, yours might already be nice and flat, or they might be super domed. Lots of different things affect baking, such as altitude, humidity, or lack thereof, and we ship all over the country. So your cakes might look a little bit different than mine, and if they do, there's nothing wrong with that. It just depends on where you are. So this one is a little more flat than this one, but I still want to have them a little more flat than they are. So I'm just trimming off the round bit to make it more flat. So I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to saw it sideways and just cut that top off. And I feel like that's good. You might need to go a couple times. I've been doing this a long time, so I can usually just do it in one go. But if it takes you a couple tries to level it out, nothing wrong with that at all. But the part that I cut, I am going to put facing the sky on my cake board. Now I'm going to go ahead and level this one too. Now if you are leveling your cake and you accidentally sneeze and cut it in half, I've seen it happen. It does happen. If that happens, just go ahead and push it together and use that one as your bottom cake instead. We are going to put a filling inside our cakes that will help glue it back together. You could even then, after you stack your cakes, put it in the fridge or the freezer for a little bit for a little extra oomph for your cake, and it'll be just fine. So if you accidentally cut one in half, use that as your bottom cake. Still try and keep it still try and trim it to where it's level, but use that one as the bottom and it'll be okay. But I'm going to saw this one, and then it's up to you what you do with these tops. It's your cake, so you can eat them as a snack while you decorate, or you could save them and make some cake pops with them. Lots of options. Nice. All right. So before we go any further, I'm going to go to my bag of icings. And then we are going to take out the white icing tube. So I'm going to take the top off. And then there's a little seal right here, so go ahead and pop that off. And I'm just going to squeeze that. I like to go in rings. You can do polka dots, bloops, or zigzags. But I'm just going to squeeze all of this on the top of my cake. And then I'm going to go back to my knife because I do have a little gap right here. And we want every bite of this cake to have some filling. So I'm just lightly going to pet my icing to cover up the hole. Just a very light amount of pressure, kind of like you're petting a nervous cat. Like you want it to be your friend, but don't want it to run away, but it's a cat and you need to pet it. That's about pressure you're doing with your icing. Just lightly moving it around. We're not trying to get it super smooth and pristine. Just trying to cover up any holes. I've got one right there. I'm glad I showed you. There we go. That's good. So now I am going to take this, and the one that I cut is going to go face first in the icing. And then I give it a good, like, pat. I'm not, like, patting it, but, like, boop, 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 just to make sure it's stuck in there. And then if your cake is a little hourglassy, that's totally normal. Again, it comes back to the depends on where you are in the country for how they bake. But if it's a little hourglassy, it just means you'll need to put bigger poofs of our Monster Fur where it's hourglassy to make it level. So it's an easy workaround. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't do it now. Like, it's totally fine. All right, so now we're gonna add our Monster Fur. So you have 2 orange icings. The orange icing is for the fur. So I was gonna say, take the little white, the little clear cap off, and then there's this one more little white piece. Go ahead and unscrew that. So underneath is a star tip, but we're actually going to use a grass tip instead. But if you want to test out your star tip and see what it looks like, and maybe have some Monster Fur that way instead, you totally can, but I'm gonna show you how to do it with grass tip. And then I like to squeeze a little bit out on my mat first before we actually start going. So to put a tip on here that's not the star tip that's already attached, we're gonna go to the little bag of fun. And there's a weird white ring and a metal thing. So the metal thing with all the little holes in it is our grass tip, and the ring is what attaches it to our bag. So I'm going to put it over my tip, so it looks like this. And then I'm just going to put that on top of my bag and screw it on there. It doesn't need to be screwed on so tight that you can't take it off, but it needs to be on there tight enough that if you shake it around, it's not gonna go flying across the room. So now for our cake, we are going to cover all of it except what you can't see that's sitting on the cake board. So all the sides and all the top in poofs. So you want to hold it a little above your cake and then either squeeze 1, 2, 3, stop and lift up for some really short trim Monster Fur. Or if you want it a little more floppy, squeeze 1, 2 and keep squeezing when you lift up and it goes bleh. Or you can go spaghetti style, like wild and crazy monster hair, and just keep squeezing and moving your hand in different directions. It's whatever feels right for you for your monster. And I will say that if you haven't decorated a lot, doing the little poofs on the sides might be a bit like, oh my gosh, I'm over these poofs. A way around that is instead start at the bottom, squeeze a line, and go like that all over the sides of your cake, and then go back and add a couple little random poofs here and there. It'll also go a little bit faster if you do it that way too, but I'm just gonna go right on to it. Alright, so I've almost got my monster covered, and then I'm going to go back and add little poofs to those spots. I'm doing the stripe method myself right now, but I'm going to go ahead and take this off and put it on my next orange bag. And then with your next orange bag, try and save about that much icing for our eyeballs at the end. So just try and save like that much of your icing. Perfect. All right, let's get back to it. So I'm just gonna go and add a couple more bloops, and then I'm gonna save about that much of it for our eyes here in a little bit. But yes, it's a very fuzzy monster and I love it. Yes! Fuzzy, fuzzy, fuzzy monster. Gotta do the monster mash, y'all. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do the mouth first before we add any spots and eyeballs. So you have some gummy monster teeth. So we're going to open these up, and then we're going to do something a little weird to them. I'm going to give you a couple different options before I do the weird thing, though. So these are gummy teeth. If you don't want to use all 4 of these, you don't have to. For instance, you could just put one, like Ooh. Or one here, like, or you could do a line of 2 if you want. Or if you want your mouth smaller, just stack them like that on your monster. And then you have 2 more teeth, so your monster could have 2 mouths if you want. By the way, I'm so excited to see your guys' monsters. I'm sorry that came out really intense, but I'm really excited to see your monsters. Like, you can always tag us with hashtag MyMakeStudioKits or send them to us on Facebook or Instagram. Like, I want to know what kind of mouths you do. I'm really excited. But another thing you can do is if you don't want the teeth and you want more of a kissy face monster, turn it backwards. And it makes lips. And you can put them on like that. So you have lots of options. I'm going to do a big open mouth. So I'm going to use all 4 of my teeth. But they look a little strange if you just stack them right here like this. So I'm going to go an extra mile. The very end tooth, I'm going to cut one end tooth off of each of my gummies. So the idea is these 2 were both cut off. I can then stick them and they look more like one solid mouthpiece, which you could still have like this, or flip it upside down if you want. But I'm gonna go ahead and make a big mouth, but you have lots of options for your mouth. Okay. So I'm gonna turn my cake so I can see it. But the upside is icing is like glue for all our candies and stuff, so it should just stick right on there. And then I like to push it a little bit. And then since I'm doing the double open mouth, I'm going to have it this way and this way. Yes! You could leave it like this and it'd be fine. It's a monster. Monsters can look however you want them to, and it's great. So, you can leave it like this, but I'm going to go an extra mile step. So my extra mile step is I'm going to wipe off my butter knife. Now, you could also use a spoon for this next part, but I'm going to scrape some of the icing out of my mouth to give it more depth. It's just a little extra mile step. And I'm the type of person who loves cutesy Halloween and creepy Halloween. So this is a slight creep factor to your cutesy monster. If you have stuff at home, you could hollow out this mouth, and then if you have some red food coloring, put a little bit inside the mouth too. There's ways to creepify this if you want to creepify it. But you also don't have to do this step if you don't want to. But I like to give it a little bit of depth and dimension, so I just wait till I put my mouth on and then hollow it out just a little bit so it looks like there's a mouth in my cake and not just teeth on it. Oh, I already love it. Okay. So now you've got some peach rings. Love peach rings. So save 3. Now, you don't have to do 3 monster eyes. You can just do 1 or 2, or you don't even have to use the suckers. But if you're planning on having standing eyes, for now, set 3 aside just to be safe. And then if it turns out you don't want to do them that way and don't want to use them, you don't have to, and you can add them onto the cake. But I would save 3 just to be safe. So there's my 3. So the rest of them, these are going to be my monster spots. So I'm just going to stick them randomly. You could also cut them in half and put them places, or you could stand them up if you wanted. You've got so many options with this. Like, I'm so excited to see what y'all's creative minds create with this. Like, oh my gosh. I'm just very partial to monsters in general. Like, I like making monsters of all kinds. I want one right here. And then I think I want one. Yeah, I want one right there. And then one right here. Perfect. I like it. And then I'm going to give them a good pat just to make sure they're sticking to my icing. Now, if you've waited a little bit to put these on your cake and you find that they're kind of falling, go ahead and get some more of your orange and just put a thin strip on your peach ring and then put it on. That's also why we saved some of our orange icing. But next is eyeball time. So, I'm going to use all 3 of these dum-dums to make eyeballs. So I'm going to unwrap them. Now, if you don't want eyes that are standing up, you can just take your candy eyes and put them right here and have these as antennas instead. Like, or not at all. But these could just be antennas, and then you have your little candy eyes right here, and that would also be super awesome. Like, for real, I'm excited to see what you guys do, because I already have like 3 different monster ideas this time than I did the last time I did this cake. So I'm gonna follow what I did last time, but you have lots of options. So if you're using the dum-dums, that's what these peach rings are for, to help it look more cohesive. So it's up to you how you put them on, but I like to turn them sideways and just hook my dum-dum through. And then this would be the front side. That's just a personal preference because I don't want the stick showing in front of it. So I like it this way. Your monster, your choice. And then I'm a fan of patterns, so I'm going to alternate how I put them on there. So I will probably have this one in the middle, this one on the side, and then which way do I have that? So how I would do mine is like this. But that's just me. So now it's sticking them in your cake. And then where your dum-dum sucker is, that is what the other part of our icing is for. Put a couple little poofs on the dum-dum. So I'm going to turn my cake so I can see that a little bit better. I'm so excited to see what you guys do. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. Yes! And then it's candy eye time. So you've got some candy eyes here. One, I don't know how many eyes you want for your monster. You might want more than 3. So there's more than 3 in this pack. You might not want to do the sucker method and just have like spider style eyes going on the side. This time I'm going to use the 3 and then I'm going to put my other eyes like by my mouth. But you could also just stick them randomly all over the cake like it's got many eyes. All the eyes. I'm a fan of eyeballs in general. I have tons of bags of different sized googly eyes in my house. And lots of Halloween eye things at home. So once you have your poofs on, then you just stick your eye, your eyes into the dum-dums. And then you can just leave it like that. Oh my gosh, I love it. I got 3 more eyes though. It's mainly in case you wanted some more eyes, or stuff happens. Sometimes you might have dropped some, so that way you have enough. Also, these are the things that are the hardest for me not to eat here at the shop. I'm a huge fan of Fun Dip, but I'm the weirdo that likes the stick more than the powder, and these taste like Fun Dip sticks. And it's great. I love them. A little too much. They're so good though. And then I'm going to just stick my other eyes. I already love this. Down here. Yes. It's a monster! Ah! Yes! Spooky season's the best! In my opinion. I like holiday things. I like dressing up, if you can't tell. But that is it, you guys. That's the Monster Cake Kit. And for real, I am so excited to see your awesome monsters. So feel free to send us your pictures with hashtag MyMakeStudioKits, or you can send them to our Facebook, which is MyMakeStudio, or our Instagram, which is @MyMakeStudio. Love seeing your creations. Like, we all got the same stuff, but there's so many different ways to do the same thing, and I'm really excited to see it. And then if you just kind of want to see like what's going on in our lives, like if you didn't know, we're Denver based, and if you want to see like upcoming kits that we have or like kits that are going away or anything like that, our Facebook and Instagram are good places to follow just to kind of keep up with what's going on in our lives and all that jazz. And then if you want to see what other stuff we have, for instance, we also do spooky haunted houses, which are Halloween themed gingerbread houses. And then we have a pumpkin lovers kit this year where you make like pumpkin cake and make them look like little pumpkin patches. We also have a pastry kit, and then we have cupcake kits too. And then we have stuff that's, not Halloween related if you don't want some Halloween stuff. So if you want to see what else we have and you want to decorate some more things, you can check out our website, which is mymakestudio.com. But oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for coming today. I hope that you had fun. I know that I had fun, and enjoy eating your wonderful monsters. And as always, stay creative.